afternoon. I'm still reporting on Joe Biden's last day as president. According to Tom Fitton, head of Judicial Watch, it is unlikely that Joe Biden made all of the pardon decisions that were printed out by the White House auto pen.
Did Biden authorize the pardons? The New York Times story further confirms there's no record of that happening. There's a record of his chief of staff authorizing the pardons, but not of Joe himself. So that's a big deal. Well, I appreciate that Congress is looking into things, and the great news is that your Judicial Watch is looking into things as well. I support more information generally, but I got to call it as I see it. You can always count on Congress to be a day late and a dollar short on most investigations. And we're seeing that with the pardon investigations and the use of the auto pen issue. I mean, the auto pen issue is kind of like a stalking horse for his mental capacities, right, and capabilities. That issue should have been investigated while he was president in order to protect the darn country, and it wasn't.
According to a headline in the New York Times dated July 13, 2025, Biden says he made the clemency decisions recorded with auto pen. The Times insists that Biden did approve the pardons issued in his name. However, there is some room for interpretation here. According to the Times report, Biden's chief of staff, Jeff Zients, gave final approval for some pardons, especially the ones that occurred in the last 24 hours of Biden's presidency, which included preemptive pardons for Anthony Fauci, General Mark Milley, and Biden's family. Preemptive pardons are pardons forgiving possible future charges related to a person's actions in government. The Times article, relying on reviewed emails and anonymous sources, details the last late-night meeting where clemency decisions were discussed on January 19, 2025. It mentions White House counsel Ed Siskel, Chief of Staff Jeff Zients, and three other top aides, Anthony Bernali, Steve Ricchetti, and Annie Tomasini, being present. There is no mention of Biden attending that meeting. An email sent at 22:03 on the 19th by an aide to Zients' assistant summarized the decisions made and Zients' approval of the auto pen use to document those decisions made at 22:30. Still no mention of Biden's participation. However, skeptics believe it is very unlikely that Biden would have been awake at that hour, and historic events in the White House are usually meticulously detailed. Sources indicate that as many as 1,500 commutation decisions were made that night as well. The Times article insists that Biden orally made the decisions during these meetings. However, critics, including Republican investigators of this narrative, are reminded of Biden's mental state 2 years earlier, as highlighted by the Hur tapes, videotape shot by Special Counsel Robert Hur in October of 2023. These tapes, spanning 5 hours over 2 days of interviews, were released last May by Axios after a legal battle. They revealed Biden's memory lapses, including forgetting his son Beau's death year and leading her to describe Biden in 2023 as an elderly man with a poor memory who therefore should not be prosecuted. In other words, no way was Biden awake after the sun went down, and on January 19th, that's pretty doggone early, especially when it was all hands on deck for the swearing-in ceremony of President Trump's second term at the nation's capital the next morning. I'm still reporting from just outside the citadel of world freedom. Good day. Yes, our sovereign money store is open now at this URL. If you have any ideas for products that we could add, please let us know.